I am going to kill this intruder, but in my own way.
Hey gang! Uncle Todd Suddy here with our next superhero extravaganza, Curse of the Aztec Mummy. This is one of several Mexican films that was brought over to the United States, redubbed and released, usually to television, by K. Gordon Murray. Now, the Aztec Mummy was actually a Mexican TV serial, and so the whole thing was taken and chopped up into 3 separate films with reused footage to kind of tie the narrative together with each film to get backstory from the previous film. He did this with several other serials. Anyways, this is the second of the 3 films he created. The first was The Aztec Mummy, and then we had this one, The Curse of the Aztec Mummy, which follows up on the events of the previous one and introduces the character of Angel, a masked crime fighter, sort of a non-luchador, but luchador looking superhero. And then the final one, which was Robot versus the Aztec Mummy, in which the evil villain, you just gotta get into everything, don't you? You and that tail of yours. Anyways, the villain creates a robot to take on the Aztec Mummy. This is all about a breastplate and a bracelet that leads to a fabulous treasure. Now, this film opens up right where the last film left off, with Dr. Krupp having been revealed as the masked villain, the Bat, and is awaiting trial when he gets a message while refusing to answer questions during interrogation.
Is this a message for you? You're stalling.
Man, he is a cool customer, isn't he? I wonder what that message entailed. Well, anyways, we then meet our main characters that Dr. Krupp had been harassing. Dr. Almeida and his secretary/fiancée, Flora.
My father died when he profaned the tomb of the Aztecs. According to the curse, my father was to perish, and me too, because they also blame me.
Now stop that. Why worry, Flora? As long as the mummy has the breastplate and the bracelet in his custody, he won't wake up there.
As well as his younger brother, Bobby, extremely younger brother, and his assistant, Almeida's assistant, Picante.
I was sure scared, and I'll admit it. Each time I think about all that's happened to us, the old tigger starts to complain like crazy.
Are you kidding? But that's silly. When things start going wrong, you run like a bunny.
Okay, now that we've got all of that squared away, we know who the players are, let's move on over to the prisoner transfer of Krupp, who's being sent to prison to await trial, when we learned that the message was a code for a jailbreak. Oh no! Looks like the bat, Dr. Krupp, is going to get away. Who can prevent this from happening?
Jim Carter. Hi, keeper.
And the day was almost saved. Well, they could just shoot him, this masked man, but Krupp has a better idea and decides to run him over. Wow, a breathless escape. Yeah. That night, the strange masked man introduces himself to Amita and Flora.
I'm called the Angel, and don't think that I'm interested in you two alone. I try to help anyone that's in trouble. My mission is to do all I can do to eliminate crime. There's so much of it around.
Good to know. A lot of crime around. Anyways, he lets them know about the bat escape and that their life's in danger. And then before he goes...
And I'll leave you this radio wristwatch. If you ever run into any trouble, just call me if you find it possible to do so. I'll hear you. This is a long-distance radio.
Wonder if that'll come in handy later. You know, sort of a check-off two-way watch thing. You know, introduce it, and then it gets used. And next we move over to Dr. Krupp, where he explains to the gang what exactly this whole thing is about. And he relates having spied on Dr. Ameda, who hypnotized Flora. And then we are shown footage from the previous film, where she regresses to a life of an Aztec princess who unfortunately fell in love with an Aztec warrior, Papoka. It's a forbidden love because she has to remain a maiden, you know.
It's a virgin, stupid.
Exactly. Anyway, the love was discovered, and so she was sacrificed to their Aztec god. Probably Quetzalcoatl, you know, that's the one they usually go with. And as for his punishment, Papoka was mummified alive and has to spend eternity protecting the princess's body and the breastplate and a bracelet that her corpse will wear, which when put together and translated can lead to a vast treasure, which is what Krupp wants. So, his plan, he wants his men to go kidnap Flora so he can hypnotize her and regress her so that he can learn the location of the tomb so he can get the breastplate and the bracelet. So he sends out Lilac, his head man, and the rest of the gang to kidnap Flora. But remember, no guns. He doesn't want to take the chance on her getting killed. That was pretty easy. Oh, the little girl that was sleeping in the next bed, she's Almeida's daughter from a previous marriage. You know, he's a widower, so that they can have the romance between him and Flora. Anyways, some of the guys get away with her, but the guys bringing up the rear get discovered by Amita and Picante, and they get to show what they're made of.
Hi, keeper.
Apparently they are made of whipped cream. Well, while they're licking their wounds, Amita decides he's going to call the police, which Picante talks him out of. They might hurt Flora. They've also taken the little girl, Jenny, his daughter. And Amita says he's right. They'll have to wait for the evil doctor to call them back. And then Picante goes to Bobby and he says, you know, why didn't you call the angel? Oh, it happened too fast. Well, when we get the phone call, you listen in and then call the angel so he'll be able to help. Yeah, Picante, he's pretty smart. Anyways, Dr. Krupp lets Flora know that if she does not cooperate with him and allow him to hypnotize her, he may have to take it out on little Jenny, because he's an evil man and hurting a kid is nothing to him. So she agrees. So after a certain amount of time to wait for the first drug to take effect, then he gives her a second drug, and this puts her out. She is now in his power. Now he's going to have her lead him to the temple so he can get the breastplate and the bracelet. But he doesn't know how to translate it, so he's going to need Dr. Amita. So he calls and lets Dr. Amita know he has to come to a certain address by himself, or he'll be forced to take it out on the family members he's got there. Well, Amita agrees. And after he leaves, Bobby goes and finds the wrist two-way and to do what Picante suggested.
Angel! Angel!
Yes, Bobby. What's the matter?
Angel, we got troubles and they're bad. Edward went out just now. He's gone to the Bats' hideout. They got Jenny and Flora captive.
Give me the address.
Yes. Mount Lorraine 22.
So he just lays around on his bed in full costume waiting to be called? Anyways, Amita shows up at the warehouse location where they kick the snot out of him. A little frustrated with the guy, and they want to soften him up. And then the angel comes to the rescue.
Hi, keeper. Jim Carter. Hi, keeper. Jim Carter.
Somebody want to explain to me how this guy is a crime fighter and a superhero? He gets beaten up more than Indiana Jones. Well, now that he's taken care of, Krupp decides he's going to take Flora and get to the tomb and get the breastplate and bracelet so that he can have the doctor translate them. And he promises once that's done, he'll let them all go.
Liar! Liar!
Of course he's lying. He's a villain. Thing is, Almeida and everyone knows it, so. Anyways, as for the angel, Well, he's tired of dealing with him, so he has him thrown into an inescapable doom trap. Ooh, rattlesnakes. Very deadly. You go first. Sorry, couldn't resist. Well, looks like he's done for. Well, that's a pretty good temporary solution, but still not going to get him out of there.
Bobby? Bobby!
Yes?
This is the Angel. My life depends on the strength of a light cord. I want you to come running to Mount Lorraine number 22, the address that you gave me before.
Yes.
Smart thinking. Here's hoping Bobby gets there in time.
Angel!
Bobby! Look around and find something to push me back and forth with. But hurry!
Okay, now that's how you do a suspenseful cliffhanger sequence. Let's see if he's any better this time in fighting goons.
Here they come now. Get your hands in the air. Get their guns. Get in there, all of you.
Oh, okay. So basically he needs a kid sidekick. A Robin to his Batman. Speedy to his Green Arrow, as it were. Well, now that everybody's safe, they rush to the tomb to stop Dr. Krupp. But he has already gotten there. They've uncovered the mummy from the destruction of the last film. And they take the breastplate and the bracelet. But Amita and the rest arrive and get the drop on them. But then Dr. Krupp grabs Flora and threatens to shoot her. It looks like a standoff. But the one thing everybody forgot, except maybe Amita because he kept warning Krupp about this, is Papoka. That is a formidable mummy. Of course, they just leave him there with that hole open, so I'm sure he won't be able to track him down or anything.
Perhaps.
Meanwhile, back at the warehouse. Before he has Dr. Amita translate the items, he wants to know just who the Angel is.
In just a moment, you'll all know who this defender of justice really is.
You? Pinkat, you're the Angel.
Your timid and cowardly helper, Dr. Almaden. Congratulations. You had us fooled.
I'm shocked.
That explains why you ran the moment you found yourself up against danger.
And I used to call you a coward. Forgive me, Pinkat.
I never associated.
I would have never guessed. And it's so good that they explained how cowardly and how he would run away so that nobody would ever suspect.
Liar! Liar!
with that out of the way, we of course have a long montage of cuts of everybody smoking, because that's what you did back then, while Amata does his translations. And when he's done, he reminds Krupp of his promise to let them go.
Krupp, just what do you intend to do? Murder us all?
What do you think?
Boy, looks like they sure could use a Dos Ex Machina.
And there was much rejoicing.
That'll do.
I've had worse.
I don't think you have. Well, that just leaves Dr. Krupp. Yeah, hoisted on his own petard, as Adam West used to like to say. And a pretty fitting end, at least until the next film, when he somehow manages to return along with a very scarred Lilac for one final go-around with the Aztec Mummy. Now, then we end with Amata destroying the translation, while Popoka returns to the tomb with the, or maybe not the tomb, but he leaves with the breastplate and the bracelet. Why return to the tomb? Everybody seems to know where it is. And that's how we end. It's an okay film. Unlike the Santo movies, these are very slow moving. Even with several of the fight scenes with the angel in it, a lot of dialogue scenes, a lot of meandering. Probably because of the source material to stretch things out. You know, it's a serial, so you had to pace it out. Another couple of complaints. One, the Aztec Mummy's hardly in it. He's just there at the end to be Dos Ex Machina, as I said before. And the angel. As superheroes go, he's pretty much a bust. He gets in fights and gets defeated. He gets in another fight, gets defeated. He is one of the least inspiring heroes. And the whole, his identity, that doesn't work. Unlike in the Neutron films, which was another serial that was chopped up into films, that one you had several people who could be Neutron, the Atomic Superman. Not here. It is very obviously it's going to be Picante because he's so cowardly and ineffectual and always runs away. You know, kind of like they always had Bruce Wayne being so milquetoast and ineffectual that nobody would obviously suspect he was Batman. No, he's the one you would suspect because no one would suspect it. Anyway. Makeup on the Aztec Mummy is really good. The guy who plays Krupp just oozes menace and evil. And the rest are just kind of It's of the Mexican films I've seen, the Aztec Mummy ones are not my favorite. Much prefer Santo or some of the horror films they did, like Vampire's Tomb and Brainiac. Brainiac's silly, but it moves, and it's got some great menacing scenes, you know. So, but again, this is made for TV, so had an even smaller budget than the films did. As it is, it's okay. The Angel's not exactly a svelte crime fighter. He's got a bit of a punch. It's like if you put a costume on me, you know. But anyways, it's an okay flick. Next week, I think we'll have a funner one. Please hit like, share, and subscribe. And as always, stay after for my favorite scene.
No! Doctor, help me! Can't you hear me?